The founder and head honcho of EC Writing. How you doing today?
I'm really well, thank you for asking.
Fantastic. Okay, so you're a content writer guru, aren't you? You've just come back from a tour. So tell us a little bit about EC Writing, your company.
Yeah, I have just come back from a tour. We did a national tour, we're still in the national tour, been to Sydney, Melbourne, and I just travel around teaching people, business owners, how to write online content that rocks and gets results.
So it's engaging and informative.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's also educational, so we're teaching people about whatever our business is in a really fun and strategic way.
Okay, what would be, I'm going to pin you down with one. What's the one most important thing that people are forgetting with content writing? Why do they need your help? What do they struggle with?
Writing stories and the structure of each piece of content.
So they're kind of just blurting words out there.
Yes, and there's no structure and it's not engaging. So one of the biggest problems that I see is that it's just boring content. And last year there was leading up to now, there's been a massive myth around the sort of content that you can produce. And so it was very, 5 tips on how to produce a video, and that was it. But there needs to be a real story in there, either a personal one or one from your clients or one that's happening in the news or whatever, so that you draw people in, you draw in that emotion and get people reading. And then the structure is just actually sticking to a 4-step structure that gets people from top to bottom to the most important part, your call to action.
Definitely. So you say there was like a template, but you also need to personalize it and make it engaging and fun.
Yes, it's so true. And that's one of the biggest trends in content this year is the actual personalization and speaking to that business bestie. So how do you actually know what words you can use that will engage them even more and start to get them thinking about how you could help them rather than me saying, hey, I can help you, you know.
Definitely. Down to the word you said. So it comes down to even the words that you use.
Yeah.
And you said bestie. What's a bestie? A business bestie?
Oh, yeah, your business bestie is the very best client that you have. So it's not a target market 25 to 35-year-old woman living in Metro driving a black high-end car or whatever. It's literally, who is that person? That person's name is what?
So an actual person that you meet, a physical, actual human being.
Your best client, because they pay their bills on time, they spruik you to anyone who will listen, they tag you in social media, they do all the work that you ask them to do, they are happy and engaged, and they just love everything about you. So if you get to know that specific person
And their language?
their wow words is what I call. So if I know you, if you're my business bestie, I will, and what I teach is go and stalk that person. So we'll go and have a look at you online. We'll see, any emails that we have exchanged, text messages, and I'll see that you use certain couple of words. Like you're actually very, seem like a very educated person. So if I was going to mimic you, I'd start to, use the words that you're using, and that actually we do it naturally, but we don't do it in our content. We do it when we're talking because it builds rapport.
So if I was your business bestie, you would adopt a kind of pompous English, slightly Australian accent, somebody that struggles with their A's?
A little bit, just a little bit, without changing who I am. But I'd take...
Please do that. Hello there, Nathan. Welcome. So how are you going there, mate?
Yeah. So you do it well.
Yeah, I could find a business bestie. What if you interview like a bogan? Do you have to really drop your standards? How you going there, mate?
Yeah, no, because you would probably have some little bit of bogan within you as well. So if you were my business bestie, I'd have a little bit of pompous English person in me, and I'd be able to tell you a story about that, like my grandmother was, and she came over here or whatever. So when you're building a relationship with people face to face, you would try and find things in common, and you would talk about those things, and you'd build the rapport and the relationship. You'd walk away going, "Oh my God, she's awesome! She
like a
loves
common
me."
interest.
Yeah.
Okay.
You do the same with online, and so within our content, if we're putting in stories that we know are going to inspire or educate or entertain our business bestie, then we know that they're not the only business bestie. They've got to be others out there, because that's how you get a client base. And so other people reading it are going to fall in line with that business bestie, and they'll be attracted to you because of that. And that's what we've done. And that's
I think, it sounds like marketing. And there's a term called sneezers. So you want to have people that are sneezers. They just love blurting out, and they're so excited about, this is such great content.
Yeah.
These are great. So more about EC Writing then. You don't focus on the marketing or anything else. You literally solely focus on producing great content and
Yeah.
you just have a team of writers, right? So what do? You just come back from tour, so how is that a business?
Yeah, so we had the content writing agency where I started out, it was just me. I was the writer, I would write content for your website, your blog, or your social media. And then I started to get my own client base, and then I needed help, so I got in some writers to help. And that all still works when we need it to. I don't focus so much on that now because I love the teaching side of things. So from there, we pivoted and we went into teaching. So now I have more people that, not writers as such, because I'm the one that teaches you. The clients are the writers, so they write their own stuff.
Yeah.
I just download all my information and my templates and frameworks and formulas and all of that works. But now I have a team more around like assistants that can help me, event managers that can help at the event, crew, operations, that sort of thing, like getting Entreport working properly or getting that email series in. We have a new system called Artemis that's helping like with the team and the whole structure of the business. So there's all that sort of stuff more so now rather than when it was just the writing service. It was just the writers.
And I love it, actually. You just phrased it as the clients are the writers. You're kind of like the scribe, and you're kind of coaching them through becoming writers for themselves. That's a lovely concept.
Love it. That is. They love that. And that's what I love. So you'll be sitting there watching them write, and these beautiful words are just pouring out of their fingertips. And it's like, without sounding like a weirdo, it actually brings a tear to my eye when I'm sitting reading, when I'm behind them reading, and I'm just like, I have to turn away and just be like, don't cry, don't be such a weirdo.
Wow, yeah, that is weird.
It's beautiful though, like it really is beautiful to see them. They're like, I can't write, or I don't know how to, I've got nothing to say, and then all of a sudden there's this most amazing content there, and you're like, what? You have the most beautiful words.
Which I love, because it's kind of also like a backhanded compliment. It's not even a backhanded compliment, it's kind of more singing your praises if you're crying out, oh my god, I've taught you so well.
I don't show
They're like your little students.
Yeah. And that you're so proud of them because you've seen where they were, and one of them, Paul, he's amazing. He has dyslexia and was told from year 3 that he'd never amount to anything except a janitor. Like, he is a multi-million-dollar business owner now who loves writing but never did it because he was told he was so bad at it because of the dyslexia. And he doesn't mind me sharing that story, but now I look at his stuff and I'm like, oh my god, he's getting the best opportunities, like speaking gigs, media, guest posting opportunities, going out to a huge audience and getting the rewards from that too. So
well, it's funny with dyslexics too. I imagine they've got part of their brain too, the undeveloped side, which would be the reading, writing potentially. They would develop more of an intuitive understanding, so they would be better at talking and coming up with ideas.
And he calls himself the ideas entrepreneur. So that's his like tagline. So now that he can actually write and get those ideas out and feel confident about it, that's the stuff that pulls at your heartstrings, that you're like,
definitely,
oh my god, you're amazing. Like,
why did you get into this? It seems like you're very people-based as well. How did you get into this?
Yeah, I've always loved writing ever since I was little. But the writing for me was more around the meeting of people and telling their stories and the communication side of things. So it wasn't really about anything else except what I liked doing. And then when I got out there and I met people and I could tell their story and it would educate the readers or the audience in ways that they just never knew. Like, with people, everyone has a story to tell, and once you can get down into that nitty-gritty, we find common things with each other, and like you and I are very similar because of a story that's happened to both of us, or it's happened to a friend of yours or whatever, and so you can actually build a beautiful community around that. And I think that's what's lost in journalism nowadays, is that it's not like that. And that's what it was like for me when I first got in, and that's what I've taken with me into any writing journey that I've had.
For sure, I never lose sight of people. I quite like that, actually. After talking with you before we started this, you really do keep going back and homing back to, it's got to be about what people are, personality, individuals and their stories.
Yeah.
So where can people find you for one of these workshops or for some tips? You've got some meetup events coming up, and how can they get in contact with you?
They can just Google Elizabeth Campbell
You can actually as well. I did a little bit of stalking. I do that before these shows as well. I did as well, and you're everywhere.
Yeah.
I do Google images just to make sure that it's the right one, but yeah, very easy.
I know. We've got to do a bit more work around the alt tags on the images to get more images of me coming up. But it is, you can just go to my website and there's events on there, workshops and programs and whatever else, and just get in touch. You can find me on social media. I'm on all the socials.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much, Elizabeth Campbell, for being on the show today, and yeah, look forward